yourself to our site visitors.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dan Croll.
Well, thank you so much. We're back here backstage at Firefly. And got things off to an early start today. The crowd looked incredible out there. How was it?
Yeah, it was really, really fun. So much fun I managed to lose my voice, but it was really good. I was, a bit scared, wondering how many people would be there. First act on of the day, and but it was turned out really, really well. I massively appreciate everyone getting up.
So what do you enjoy the most about the festival environment?
I think it's just the energy. If the weather's good as well, that's a massive bonus. But I think it's just the general atmosphere that's amazing. People discovering new music, new people. It's just a massive congregation of music lovers, so it's a huge amount of fun.
Absolutely. Are there any artists here at Firefly you're excited to catch?
I would have loved to have seen Imagine Dragons and Beck last night, but we arrived too late. And I'd love to see Weezer today, but I can't. I've got some interviews, and so I think I'm just going to walk around when I can and see who I see, and just hang out, really, have a beer.
You earned it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a beer.
So can we talk a little bit about Sweet Disarray, the album that came out a few months ago?
Yeah.
Correct. So how happy are you with the feedback that it's been receiving so far?
I've been over the moon with the feedback. Yeah. It's been fantastic. Just been getting a lot of airplay, and it's been charting, and I never thought I'd even get that far. It was a bit of a last minute change of career for me, and so I didn't really have any great aims or expectations of my music, but it's doing really well, and it's just a pleasant surprise to me, really.
Is that still pretty surreal for you?
Massively. Even just standing on the main stage of a festival this size was quite emotional, really, and it was just quite tough to take in. I was just kind of seeing my backdrop and just thinking, this is weird. 4 years ago I wasn't doing this, I had my career and aim set completely elsewhere, and so it's really amazing what I'm doing. It's great.
So can you take me in the recording process for the album, maybe one or two songs in particular, and tell me what the mindset was like?
It depends. Most songs start with the discovery of a new instrument, really. From Nowhere, the main single off the album, that was when I bought an organ off eBay for $5. Borrowed it into the studio and I plugged it in.
That's incredible.
And just this big church organ for $5, fixed it a bit. And when I plugged it in, it was already on, so the previous settings started playing. And it had a built-in drum box that starts off from nowhere. There's and within 4 hours I'd written From Nowhere. Now, if I hadn't have got that organ, I wouldn't have written that song. I had no idea. And there's a couple of songs like that I've started with a new instrument that is just kind of gone wow, all right, yeah, I'll go with that, and it's happened, really. So, From Nowhere is a good example of that, and other tracks, I don't know, it just all depends on what kind of music I'm listening to at the time. There's a song called Can You Hear Me, which for a good solid month or two I was listening to nothing but A Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and a lot of kind of classic rap and hip hop. Really got into that side of sampling, and it was that really inspired that song. So I think a lot of people start with just their main instrument, but it's either for me sampling or it's not my instrument at all.
I'm always fascinated by a songwriter's ability to tell an entire story and evoke an emotion in a listener in 3 to 4 minute time frame.
Yeah.
Is that ever challenging for you? What goes into that process?
Massively. Yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging when you try and force it. I think it's easy when you know quite clearly what you're talking about. But you really want to get people's full attention. You want to get them to fully understand what you're chatting about. And there's the title track of the album, which is Sweet Disarray. That was about my grandmother, who's recently discovered dementia. Got dementia, and it's about me and my family going through that, and you've got 3 or 4 minutes it's a pretty heavy subject to sum up in 3 or 4 minutes, so in a way you kind of say to yourself, I'm not going to be able to fully describe what this is like. I don't think I'll ever be able to, no matter how long the song, you won't really get to describe what it's fully like. So it's about giving, I think, people room for interpretation. And so I didn't have to say in the song that it's about dementia, could be about any illness, which is not a nice thing. But at the end of the day, it's sweet. It's nice that family come together to deal with it. And so you just leave a little bit of room for interpretation. I think it works itself out.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why music is a universal language.
Exactly.
And I think that, you know, everyone could take something a different way. It may not be exactly what I think or you think. You know,
exactly.
It's a little bit of everything.
Definitely.
So, you know, did you have that one pivotal music moment that occurred that kind of changed your path and made you decide that you wanted to pursue music for a career?
Yeah, I broke my leg. I was playing semi-professional rugby. Yeah, and it was my main career goal to become a professional rugby player, and then completely snapped this leg and couldn't really go back to it. And so I was 18 and had to suddenly change my career.
That had to be devastating though, at such a young age though.
It was tough, but I'm so happy with how it's turned out. You know, I'm in the States playing a big festival.
Absolutely.
It's great, yeah.
And did I read that you studied under Sir Paul McCartney also?
Yeah. I managed to hang out with him for a bit and kind of have some songwriting tuition, I suppose. Just bouncing a lot of ideas back and forth and hanging out, really. It was really good fun.
That's amazing.
It was really cool.
Definitely. I couldn't even imagine what the experience would have been like.
I know, yeah. I get asked about it a lot. It's always tough to just do it. So it's just like you know, it was just, I wasn't nervous in the slightest because he's a very welcoming, warm, kind of humble guy. It's when you're a couple of meters away from him and you're like, oh my God, it's Paul McCartney. And then you chat to him and he's just like anybody else, just totally normal. And
I think it's like the people in their heads build up this persona of like how somebody is, and it's like, wait, we're all just people, you know,
definitely,
like everyone is definitely equal.
I did an all-night journey from down south as well, so I'd had about 1 hour's sleep, and so I think that helped with my nerves. So I was like quite tired, just going, oh, hello, it's good.
That's awesome.
It was cool. I think if I'd had a good 8 hours sleep, I would have been like, oh my God. Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought for a minute.
It's all right. It's quite easy to do when you're here.
So where are we going to see you next after Firefly?
After Firefly, I'm going to head back home for a couple of days and do some UK and European festivals through the summer. And then I'll be coming back out on tour, hopefully in November, I imagine. I think we're going to try to do some touring all through September, October, November. So I'm pretty sure November will be all stateside. So yeah,
it's awesome.
Really fun. Yeah.
So in what ways has the uprise of social media been an asset for you as an artist?
It's been huge, really. Yeah, you're just more direct with your fans. You know, you kind of look back all those years ago, bands like the Beatles and the Stones, and you know, people could only just listen to their music or be lucky enough to get into one of their shows to be able to see them, and you wouldn't even get that opportunity to chat to them. You know, things like Twitter and Instagram and all of this stuff. You're so much more connected to your fans, which can have ups and downsides, but it's mainly ups, really.
I know, I've heard like people complain that some of the shroud of mystery has been lifted around.
A little bit. I like that. I'm more of a fan of like honesty, really. So it's really cool to have that kind of honesty, upfront kind of relationship with your fans. But yeah, it's good fun.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes to speak with me. I appreciate it. Is there any final comments you'd like to share with our Slay audience?
Please check out my music, and I hope you enjoy it. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
No problem.